Good day, good day, good day, Africans. Wherever you are, we miss you, we love you, and we pray for you every day. You know, you have formed a bigger part of our family, and we say to you, thank you for watching our videos. Thank you for subscribing on our channel. Thank you for encouraging others also to subscribe on our channel. And thank you for watching, and thank you for leaving your comments after watching the videos. Today, we are dealing with one comment that was left by a friend, a good African hero. This is yours, the Eland Prince, Aaron Nemarere at Aaron Nemarere TV. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Share the information, leave a comment, and invite a friend. Because this is where Africans discusses their affairs without fear or favor. And we discuss these affairs from the layman's point of view, from the common man's point of view. We discuss it the same way it is discussed by a man on the street. So this guy, who is our friend, he left a comment and he says, we understand that you are dedicating your channel to positives, but Africa is wounded because our leaders, they are dictators and they are very corrupt. And he says you need to talk about corruption also as part of your streaming on your channel, because these guys they are destroying the continent because of their selfishness, because of their arrogance, and because of their corruption. Wow. Then I said, maybe this man is making sense. Should I talk about corruption? Then I realized that, but there are many platforms where corruption is being addressed. People are talking about corruption. After all, politicians are corrupt everywhere in the world. Go to America, they are corrupt. Actually, it was not the first time. President Trump was complaining that the elections were rigged. A few years ago, there were 20,000 votes that just disappeared in America. Not only that, there are many other things, many other dodgy things that happens in every country. But today, I just thought of responding to my friend using two great African icons, two heroes. And this is the former president of South Africa, Jacob Zuma, and the former president of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Robert Mugabe. Now, these two people, they are not so loved by so many people, especially on media platforms. Now, but if you walk on the street, people say something different, really. I have grown to understand that the news on television and the news on the streets, there are two different ones. And that's why maybe I'm wrong. I'm just throwing it out there so that we can think about it. Maybe it depends with who pays you, you know. Maybe those that report the news reports it based on their stomach, not the mind. It depends with who pays your salary or who. So the one who pays your salary usually tells you what to do, what to say, what to post, when to post it, what to write, when to write it. So, but let me get down with these two heroes. I call them heroes because they did not only become heroes by fighting our colonizers and our oppressors, but they became heroes by also fighting the system that still imprisons us, that still fights against us, even in a so-called democratic space or democratic environment. Now, so President Jacob Zuma ruled for 9 years, or led the country for 9 years. And South Africans today, they call those 9 years 9 wasted years. Well, that's what they say. They say those years were wasted. But definitely it's different. I mean, when you speak with people on the street, as I said, many of them believe the years were not wasted. However, on television, there seems to be this song, and they are singing in unison. They seem to agree that the 9 years of his leadership were 9 wasted years. But were they really wasted? Were they really wasted? Because if they were wasted years, as they want us to believe that these years were wasted, then to fix or to correct the mistake, why choosing the one who was number 2 then? Yeah, because I mean, he does not lead the country alone. A man does not lead the country alone. So if he is messing the country as the president, why promoting his vice president to the office of the president in our effort to try and correct the mistakes that happened for 9 years? That does not make sense. It doesn't. It can only make sense if you think that maybe then this one, when he was the vice president during the 9-year period, then he was not doing his work, but rather he was busy creating space for him to become a leader after this one is gone. And that you do it usually by befriending the people that are being offended by the current leadership. If that was the case, which I believe it wasn't the case, but if that was the case, then that was pure betrayal. And if it was betrayal, you can understand that some of the things that the president wanted to go out there or to be heard or to be experienced by the South Africans could not reach there because he has a betrayer right next to him. It's very difficult. But I don't believe that one. I don't believe that one. Because the other boss, there were options, you know. There were options during that time. One of the options was that if he was not in agreement with what was happening, the president could just resign. The vice president could have just resigned. I mean, him being a billionaire, he didn't care about the salary. Obviously, when he is in politics, he is there to serve the people. And if he sees that this be not for money, because he has got money already, if he sees that what I want to do here, I can't do because of this and this and this, then he can easily quit. He can easily resign and tell the nation that, guys, this is what is happening, and because of this, I can't continue serving you. That was another option, a very clear one. If he, otherwise, not doing that means he was 100% part of the system. It's either he was a betrayer who was betraying his boss, or he was part of the system 100%. Now, if he was part of the system, the question is, why then thinking that he somehow can come and change things? Doesn't make sense. But yeah, they say these 9 years were wasted years. But the question is, were they really wasted? Were they really wasted? Let's take a trip back to 2009 when the man became the president, and we move with time and we try to understand. I mean, talking about his legacy would require us to sit here in front of the camera for the whole day, maybe month, just discussing his achievements or his milestones, the things that he achieved. But one of the things that everyone should be talking about now that he is no longer in the office, is the fact that when he ascended the throne, when he was promoted to become the president, when he was voted in by the people of South Africa, South Africans were dying like flies because of HIV. There was some deniability in this country, and people were dying everywhere because of HIV. But when he came in power, this man made sure he ran a campaign, a very strong one. He promoted ARVs. He actually introduced a system that I believe is the best in the world at this day, up until this day. There are many African countries that are copying the ARV system or the HIV protection system, the fight against HIV system that South Africa has. Many people are learning it, and they are learning it because President Jacob Zuma introduced that. And that should be part of his legacy. We should be talking about the lives that were saved. He came into office, thousands and thousands were dying every day. 10,000s and 10,000s were dying monthly. But today, in South Africa, when you have HIV, there is absolutely no difference between you and the one without HIV. When you meet them on the street, they look exactly the same. This is a legacy. How dare we call a man who struggled, who strived, who put his maximum effort to save black people, and we call that period wasted time? Really? Really, guys, if we really want to be honest, isn't it that someone wants us to believe something and he makes us focus on only that one, and we forget everything else, and we are focusing on that one? Let's talk about infrastructure and job creation. I can bet with you guys, the 9 years of President Jacob Zuma in South Africa as a leader, South Africa developed a lot. This is the man that inspected and supervised the construction of all these magnificent and beautiful stadiums. And right now, South African stadiums, when he was preparing for 2010 World Cup, those stadiums are world class. Those stadiums, they are world class. You go to England today, you find that we have stadiums here that are way more beautiful than those ones which are in England, some of them. It's because of him, and you call that time wasted. Let's talk about the malls. Right here, where we are currently in the Northwest Province, there is a mall in Hartbeespoort. It's called the Village Mall. It was built during President Jacob Zuma's time. The only mall in Hartbeespoort. Wow, must I continue mentioning the malls in the Northwest Province? Oh, must I take you to Durban, KwaZulu-Natal? How many malls were constructed during his time? How many malls were constructed during I mean, the beauty of Nkandla, if you study Nkandla, if you look closer to it, it tells you of how the man is addicted to beauty. The man is possessed with the quest of beauty, and how he loves perfect things. But no, we don't know that. I mean, you come to Gauteng, there is Menlyn Mall. Menlyn Mall. The biggest mall in Pretoria. This mall was built during his time, but no one is talking about it. Let's talk about the Mall of Africa. I can bet with you now that the Mall of Africa, if it was built during someone's time who is not President Jacob Zuma, everyone could be talking about it today. This is the biggest mall in Africa. All attention of Africa was on Century City all along. But he changed that narrative. We have the biggest mall here that hired about 37,500 people during its construction. 37,500 people. How dare you call that time wasted? And not only that, let's talk about the people that are permanently employed there today. We have at least 4,500 people that are waking up every day, going to the Mall of Africa, who are permanently employed, who are feeding their family because of the salaries that are coming from that. And all these were done during President Jacob Zuma's time. And we call that one wasted time. Don't you think somebody, somewhere, is pressing the button, and his intention is that he wants us to see and hear what he wants us to see and hear? Or maybe this time was wasted in the sense that he chose the Guptas over the Stellenbosch Mafia. I bring this narrative on the table because he himself said it. He said somebody who is part of the Stellenbosch Mafia wanted to collapse the economy. There was a fight. There was a fight, there was a tension between him and the Stellenbosch Mafia. The fact that, because, I mean, we blame him for the Guptas, but who brought the Guptas to South Africa? There is pure and perfect history that the Guptas worked with President Mandela. The Guptas worked with President Thabo Mbeki. There was a time even President Thabo Mbeki was happy to have seen the Guptas' mother. He was happy, so he was even so close to him. We don't have any record of President Jacob Zuma sitting with the mother and being happy that I have seen the mother of the Gupta's family. Them was just pure business. Let me also inform you that, guys, there is no government that is not captured. All governments around the world, they work with business people, people that have got money, people that balance the economy. They work with those people. They work, even in America, there's a certain group that runs America. They work hand in hand with the leadership. Should we say they are captured? Even in Zimbabwe today, the government is working with some individuals. Should we say the government is captured? Every government all over the world. Okay, if President Jacob Zuma was captured because he was working with the Guptas, then who captures the one who is there today? Because for this country to run, you need those business people that works hand in hand with the president. It does not make sense. It does not make sense to go around and say, hey, he was corrupt, he was what. There is a lot of positive things to talk about when we just mention the name Jacob Zuma. There is a lot that we can talk about here. And let me skip him. Let me leave him for now. Let me pack this one for now and jump to Robert Mugabe. He's one of those people, one of those heroes that, Africans are so fighting with. Even in death, they still hate him. They still talk negatively about him. But what was his mistake? Didn't he achieve things that we should be talking about today? Well, I understand. If we are talking of him overstaying on the throne, well, we can bring that debate on the table and we can argue with that one. But recently they buried the queen who was on the throne for 70 years. Same Britain that was ruled by a woman for 70 years is the same country that was fighting with Mugabe that have overstayed in power because he was there for 38 years. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. This is, and I want you to know, I want you to read through the history of Robert Mugabe. We should be talking of how he empowered his people. Zimbabweans today, they are everywhere in the world. They work in high offices everywhere. They are graduates today. You go into Britain today, in tall buildings, you find them sitting in offices. You come here in Johannesburg, Cape Town, wherever you go, you find them there. It's because somebody laid that foundation. He laid that foundation. He worked so hard to promote and encourage education in Zimbabwe. He built schools, countless of them. But no one talks about it. No one talks about it. No one talks about it. It's everyone. He was very abusive. He was a dictator. When did he become a dictator? That's the question. When did he become a dictator? He became a dictator when he gave land to black people. That's when he became the dictator. When he took land from the white people and he handed it over to black people, that's when he became a dictator. Before that, he was a darling. This has got nothing to do with anything else. Because, if killing people was dictatorship, this community, international community, these so-called Democrats should have stood against Mugabe when he killed and massacred the Ndebele people in Blawan during the 80s. They didn't. They didn't. Actually, they are on record saying he had no option. Now he had also no option except to give land to his people. But it's called dictatorship. And the friendship became sour just because now, in his quest to upgrade the black people, he has touched the white people. And because of that, Mugabe, he has nothing. Mugabe has achieved nothing. Mugabe has achieved a lot. There is a lot to talk about when it comes to Mugabe. Okay, let's talk about, let me give an example. Because Zimbabwe is not developed. Yes, there's a lot of work that needs to be done for Zimbabwe to get where we need it to be. But should we blame politicians for that? Because I think we should blame politicians and the citizens. Why I'm saying that? Okay, few years ago, a diamond was discovered in Chiadzwa, one of the villages in Zimbabwe. Now, diamond was not discovered by the government. It was discovered by the citizens. You know what citizens did? They started mining diamond. They started digging. It was not even mining, digging with their hoes. They started digging. This one digs and gets 100 stones. He put it in a 2 kg of sugar. Another one who understands the value of these diamonds, drive his car all the way from Harare. He comes and you know how much he pays for the 2 kg of diamond. He says, I'll buy you a car and I'll build you a 3-roomed house, which rates around, I mean, maybe it's 10,000 rands. He built you that house and he buy you a car and he says, I have paid for the diamonds. Isn't that corruption? Should we blame government for that? When another citizen is oppressing another citizen? Because what makes sense to me would be that the citizens from that area would come together and say, this is what we have discovered. Let's set up a leadership committee. Then they set up a leadership committee and then they send those leaders to the government and say, we have discovered diamond here and these are our leaders. We want to mine this diamond. Then government come and partner with us. They would have done that. And you can't even say, no, the government was not going to do that because there is no one who tried it and the government said no. What I know is that the Chinese came with the same proposal. They said they were organized and they said we are going to do it. And the government says, come, let's work together. And today, the province, the village is still a village with even no bridge. But over 20 billion of diamond has been taken from there. 20 billion worth of diamond. That money is going to China. Because why? The citizens of Zimbabwe are not united. They don't care about developing their own area. So what we call corruption is disunity. I can argue with you now that we have got so many people around the town and location where you are staying. Some are just selling chips, fish and chips. You leave those ones and you go and buy the white-owned from the white-owned shop. Why? Because this one is black. You cannot trust him. You are not united with this one. That's why you are going very far. If we were supporting the people around us, the communities could be better. Those ones could be employing their fellow community members. And there would be the location economy could be better boosted today. And the jobs that we are crying for, that we think the government must give us or should give us, we should be creating those jobs for each other. How can you expect a politician to create the job for you when he couldn't create a job for himself? He had to come to you and beg you to vote for him. He was looking for a job on your door. You went and you voted for him, you employed him. Now you are saying, I employed you, now create employment. No! Citizens, Africans must start standing up. Africans must start standing up and working together. The governments are creating conducive environment for you to do business. I mean, look at South Africa today. Very democratic. But the citizens are poor. They are there crying on radio and on Twitter and on WhatsApp every day. That will not help. Call each other on the table. Look at yourself. From what you have, build something. Then this continent will be a better continent. Oh yes, there's a lot to talk about Robert Mugabe. I wish to do a documentary on Jacob Zuma and a documentary on Robert Mugabe so that my fellow Africans would understand that these guys, these men were heroes and are still heroes. They deserve our respect, utmost respect. Don't let an enemy tell you how to look at your friend. And also, don't let someone decide whom you should love and whom you should hate. Look for yourself. Start for yourself. And when you do that, you realize that 9 years of President Jacob Zuma were not wasted. 38 years of Robert Mugabe were not that waste. We have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of coming together to do. And when we do that, when we achieve that, you are going to realize that Africa is actually heaven on earth. What is lacking is that the unity of citizens. May God bless you. Remember to subscribe, share, and leave your comment. We love talking to you. This is our opinion, and we want to hear yours now. Till we meet again, subscribe, share, and ring the bell so that you will hear our next episode. God bless you. Bye.